What's up guys, Oxa here and welcome back to the channel. As the title suggests, today I'm going to be going over Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods Part 2. And as a warning, there will be spoilers, so, you've been warned. If you want to go into it fresh, there will be spoilers, so now's your chance to leave. But yeah guys, it just dropped. Honestly, it came out of nowhere. I was not expecting it to come out so soon. Like, it was just, March 18th, 2021, just got released. Like, because they were doing, if you were following, like, Hugo Martin, the game director, he was doing, like, weekly streams, like, playing through essentially each level of the base campaign. And, if you're not familiar, its software is based out of Texas, and they had that whole, winter, shutdown situation, and they postponed a couple, and it's sad because they were revealing stuff little by little, but then it all just ended up, I guess, like the marketing, it had to come out, and they just put it out there. So it sucks to see they didn't get to go all the way through with it, but we have the DLC, and I played through it, and I'm just going to give you my thoughts and impressions. So, I guess first question, do I think it's better than the first one? I would say yes. I mean, now admittedly, Ancient Gods Part 1 is much harder, so if you were expecting challenges, I played through it on Ultra Violence, and I beat it in one playthrough. Now, I'm not saying I didn't die. Yeah, I did. It is challenging. The new enemies they introduced, especially that cursed Prowler, God, I hate them. It does pose a challenge, but with the introduction of the new weapon, the Sentinel Hammer, I think it really trivializes a couple. Like, the Marauder honestly becomes a joke. Like, you just, eyes flash green, you shoot, hammer, you're pretty much dead. Just weapon combo, ballista, double barrel, he's out of the picture. Armored Baron, which I love, probably my favorite design, just new variation, if you'll call them, really. In the DLC, just love them. I mean, they're easy. Admittedly, it's the same. He has a Morning Star on his right hand, and once it flashes green, you shoot it, the armor explodes, and it's pretty much you could only kill him when the armor is off, and it regenerates. But again, there's a blue, kind of a effect, I guess, when it's regenerating, and the hammer kind of just stuns it to where, you could kill him pretty easily. But yeah, it's overall I think it was better paced, because again, the first one much harder. The Seraphim Samuel Hayden boss fight, oh my god, that one, admittedly, I haven't tried him on Nightmare. I mean, look, I definitely can beat the game on Nightmare, the campaign and whatnot. But yeah, I'll admit, the Dark Lord wasn't as hard as the Seraphim. He was much harder. I mean, they both have 5 stages, but I don't know. Just the Seraphim was oh man, those both spirits, especially to me, the Dread Knight was just bad. But yeah, it's the Dark Lord easier overall, but it's better paced, because again, first one is just bam, bam, bam. So if you're someone who's a more casual gamer, I would say Part 1 is not for you. You're not gonna catch on, I'll tell you that. You definitely have to be a fan. And then 2, I can say you can get through it. I mean, of course, you could always lower the difficulty with each, but you can get through it. It is nice. But the reason I love 2 just so much more is the lore. Oh my gosh, the world building, that ending. But, so essentially, I guess we'll get into spoilers now. There are 3 levels, just like Ancient Gods Part 1. And the first level, the World Spear, we're on Argent D'Nor, right? The Sentinel's home world. And we pretty much have to travel to the Spear, which is again, you get codex, lore documents, if you will, throughout the playthrough, and you learn about it, and just, I don't know, the skybox, can we talk about that? The skyboxes in the game, beautiful, Imora, we'll get to it, just absolutely fantastic, one of the best I've ever seen. But yeah, we're on the World Spear, we have to light the torch of kings to essentially rally up all the Sentinel forces, as in like the Doomslayer saying like, I'm gonna go fight the Dark Lord and I need your help. Oh, I guess I should talk about the intro where at the end of Ancient Gods Part 1, we've essentially summoned the Dark Lord, right? Like he's been built by the Luminarium and he's there in front of us, and of course the Luminarium is a sacred place. No blood can be shed there. And we get that answer because everyone was asking, so are we going to fight the Dark Lord naked? Because bruh disappears, like, you know, like, butt naked. It's like, what? But they do have a clever way of, like, explaining it where Doomslayer shoots at him. But, of course, you can't shed blood there. And the Dark Devoth mentions that. And he's like, you know, you can't hurt me here. But he does, like, almost like a gentleman's, like, challenge. He's like, ritual combat. Like, I challenge you. And, you know, find me at Amora, you know, my city, right? In hell, the capital of hell. And he just dips out, portal. Boom. And then we go to the World Sphere. And, you know, we fight through it all. And we get to it. The Doomslayer's deemed worthy. And we ride a dragon. Like, and it's marked with the Slayer's mark on the head. So it makes you think, is that the Slayer's dragon? I don't know. I know some people aren't a fan of the whole fantasy. I love it, though. I mean, come on. Doom was always, like Hugo said, it's always been, like, kind of like teen, like, not cheesy, but you get the idea. It's always been, like, a little, never took itself too seriously. And, like, I love it. I mean, I guess a good reference, like Evil Dead, you know? It's, like, horror, but it had its own little twist to it. It was comedic, too. I mean, not saying Doom is comedic, but it was, like, you know, it has its own flavor to, like, a stereotype, you know, like, oh, medieval fantasy. And I like it a lot. Like, it's pretty good. And, like, we get to the World Sphere. We are deemed worthy, you know, as Vega, the Father, God, you know, we'll get to it, tells us. And we walk in, and that's where you find out that, like, the World Sphere was a ship. And there's, like, hundreds of wraiths, and we thought there was only 3. So that does bring up the question, so what are the wraiths? Like, are they associated with the Makers? I mean, there were, like, Maker... What will I say, like, there were, like, seraphims, it seemed like, right? Like, holograms, like, guarding the shard that we get. But honestly, going in the World Sphere, just like, whoa, you're, like, blown back by, like, the beauty of it all. And, yeah, we pick up, essentially, a Wraith crystal, similar to, like, Sentinel crystals we've been getting throughout the base campaign to upgrade. This is, like, the crystal to power, I think it's like Slipgate of Divam, if I'm not wrong. It's like, it starts with the D, sorry. It's like a hard pronunciation. But essentially it's the portal that leads directly to Amora, the capital of hell. There's no way to get to it like normal means, you know, like just walking through hell and you'll find it, you know. And funny enough, it's on Earth, which I guess makes sense because Vega had like, or the Father, had like watched over his creations mainly on Earth. I mean, I guess it makes sense because if it was somewhere else, you know, the story wouldn't continue, right? But yeah, we get the crystal and leave. We leave the World Sphere, but we found out that the race, it wasn't only the 3 in 2016. There's hundreds more. And we get to Reclaimed Earth. So essentially it's an Ark base. Ark, if you don't know, is like the human resistance fighting the demons of what's left. And we're essentially arrive at like... a base where the portal is held to get to Amora, and we fight through it, you know. God, that escalation encounter on Reclaimed Earth, I think I died to it like 10, close to 20 times. Like, man, that curse prowler, like I said, the curse prowler in that just got on my nerves. Like, I hate the fact, and admittedly it was my fault too, not paying attention that it could only be killed like glory kill. Because I tried, like, the hammer and everything, but I got through it in the end. But, man, such a hard encounter. But, yeah, we get to the portal, and we teleport to Amora. And that's where the cool trailer, like the Avengers Endgame scene. We're at Amora. Doomslayer walks up, you know. You see the Dark Lord looking down at him with his forces. You're like, man, Doomslayer's got to fight all that alone. But, nah, that's where the boys come through, when we lit the torch. all the Sentinel forces come out. You see Valen, who gave us the Hellbreaker, his hammer, and, you know, rallies the troops like the hell will feel our might. And then that's why I said, Amora, gosh, can we talk about the background? Like I said, the skybox, fantastic. You see, it's like funny enough, and like I mentioned earlier, I will cover Godzilla versus Kong. You see the Titan, like the big demon monster, fighting an Atlan, which are the Sentinel like mechs. And you just see like the Atlan, like the Titan punching each other. I think you see him spearing it, like how in the campaign on like the Exultia, the second mission, you see like it's almost, I guess it was foreshadowing. You see the Atlan with the spear that speared like the Titan. Obviously they're both like dead, or in the Atlan's case deactivated. But it was foreshadowing like this scene where you see them in action, and like you see the Sentinel dragons breathing fire on the demons. Just fantastic. But we fight our way through Amora, right? And we get to him, the Dark Lord himself. And man, honestly, the boss fight, like I said, easier than the Seraphim. Wasn't that hard, but I enjoyed it. I mean, it was like, I guess how the id Software always likes to drive home about the Marauder. It's like a dance. He's a black belt, right? You're equal. Even though, again, I feel like the hammer really makes him way easier. I will say that the Dark Lord does actually feel like an equal. Like, when you're trying to bait him to do, like, obviously the green, like, his vulnerable state so you can get damage in, it seems like he is smarter. Like, he'll bait, you know, like, he'll do it occasionally, and then sometimes he'll do them in a row, not at all. Like, it seemed the AI was more responsive, so I feel like they actually accomplished that with him. But ultimately, it's a Doom game. We know we're gonna beat him. We beat him. And man, oh, and how can I forget all the twists? You find out that the Dark Lord, Devoth, is God. And I thought that was like, whoa, like, especially being that Doom is like, I guess, biblical, right? Like, obviously angels, demons. It's a nice twist where you find out that, like, all that, like, oh, that Vega, the father, like, cast down Devoth. He was the first primeval. No, Vega essentially is the betrayer. It's kind of a bittersweet, you know, yin yang of like how the good, the makers, are actually like bad, and oh, they were created by Devoth, and it's like, I don't know, that just really, like, I was like, damn, that's really, like, it was a good twist, you know, and I don't think anyone saw it coming, that we were literally fighting essentially God, the creator. And yeah, it was like, you strike him down, and there's just that badass scene where he's like, you know, having nothing to say to your creator, and the Slayer just stabs him and then hits him with probably the coldest no in all of gaming. Like, definitely check it out if you haven't. But, and that's the sad part, where it's like, knowing that Devoth is responsible, and again, Vega had a shard that he kept of God. That's how you find out that the Divinity Machine, everything that the Khan Maker found, like, and, you know, made, like, how she made the Divinity Machine with that shard of God. And obviously the Seraphim brings the Slayer under, you know, Devoth's influence. And yeah, it's like you find out that the Slayer essentially got power from God himself. Like, it's like not a god, like the god. And it was like, whoa, like, that's why he's so, like, OP, you know, it's literally the power of God. But we killed him, and obviously, ultimately doing that, I don't want to say kill ourselves, because, I mean, that's the thing, it's ambiguous. Like, yeah, he faints, right? The Slayer falls over, and then Vega mentions, like, you know, he created everything, even you. And then we see, like, a mirror, like, obviously the Slayer gets put in his tomb, like, a tomb similar, maybe, I don't know if it's the same one, but you get the idea. He gets sealed in a tomb again, and he's left at Amora, where all the, I assume those are all life spheres, those smaller ones. I mean, maybe it's just candles for decoration, but yeah, we're left there. But the reason I say parallels is because you had the 3 Hell Priests who sealed the Slayer away back in 2016, right, when we popped out. And then now we're being sealed away by 3 Seraphims. Like, it was like, you know, it's like clever big brain. Like, I like that. I like that sort of parallel, and it fits into the whole, like, I guess it's a cycle, right? The Doomslayer's fight is eternal. It's like no matter what or what circumstances, I guess you could say, it'll always be the same. I mean, you get the idea. Like, it was 3 Hell Priests, now it's 3 Seraphims. But yeah, we find out that Vega was the bad guy, I guess. I mean, not saying he is bad, but it's like Vega betrayed God, right? Like, he was all the history, like, all the Maker history was, like, you know, false. Like, it was crazy, and pretty sure it's setting up for the next game. Whether we play as a Slayer or not, that's up in the air, because he was in the circle, like, sealed away, but it gave me, like, Halo 3 vibes, you know, where it's like, wake me when you need, you know, when you need me, and it's like, I think we will, but it's possible we play as someone else, and, you know, they have talked about using, like, a male or a female protagonist, like, toyed with the idea, but they're pretty much setting up, like, Vega and Samuel Hayden, the Seraphim, to be, like, the villains, essentially, of the next game. But, yeah, guys, I mean, overall, I love the Ancient Gods Part 2. Definitely worth it. And as a package, like, 1 and 2, it's definitely worth the asking price, $30. I mean, just look at it. The campaign had 13 levels overall. And if you want to be, like, get down nitty-gritty, I mean, really, Sentinel Prime, you know, the Gladiator fight, is that really its own level? Because it's only a boss fight. Like, it's not, like, a full-on level. So let's say 12, like, real levels for $60, right? The premium. And for half the price, we get 6 full levels, which admittedly, like, I feel like each Ancient Gods 1 and 2 levels are, like, some of them feel long, like, way longer than campaign levels. So, honestly, I think, like, just value alone, it's worth it. But yeah, a rating, I'd probably give it, like, a 9 out of 10. Just fantastic. Like, id Software's really outdone themselves, and just amazing all around. Definitely check it out. I love it. And yeah, guys, just had to get this out there. Again, Doom is my all-time favorite franchise. Love it. I can't wait to see what they do next. They have said this is the final expansion, campaign expansion for Doom Eternal. So, assumingly, anything new Doom-related would either be a spin-off, like maybe a game set in the old Sentinel times when the Slayer, you know, first met the Sentinel army, or, of course, a proper, like, Doom 3, we could say. But yeah, guys, this was just my overview and thoughts, and I guess discussion, story, you know, all of that about the Ancient Gods Part 2. Definitely recommend it. Check it out. And yeah, my next couple of videos will be about, of course, Godzilla vs. Kong, you know, big monster hype. And yeah, make sure to stay tuned for those. But with that, guys, thank you for your support. And, you know, as always, make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, everything, all that good jazz. Thank you for always tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.